everyone, my name is Nicola. I am simply a stitcher. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, it's great to have you, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming and spending some more time with me. So today is a Flosstube update, and it's going to be a fairly long one. I have 7 projects to show you, and I have some stitchy kindness as well, and an update on what I touched on last week's video regarding my Gecko Rouge kit. So without further ado, we're just going to crack straight on, and I'm going to share with you the projects that I've worked on over the last 7 days. So I have actually done a slightly more stitches this week, 8,800 over the last 7 days. I'm very pleased with that. I've had a couple of really good days. I've had a couple of poor days, don't get me wrong, but I've had some really good days. Excuse me, my nose is running. I've just had burrito in a bowl for my lunch, and it's been a bit spicy. So just my nose. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm going to share with you what I've been working on over the last 7 days, and yeah, let's crack on and show you. Right, let's start with June book, shall we? So if you're in my Facebook group, you'll have seen us. Please let that not be the thumbnail. You'll have seen that I'm doing a monthly stitch along in there. We had a Mania one where we worked on Symphony or a chart of your choice. And in June, I opened one called June Bug. So any piece that you have with a nature theme that you want to get some progress on, commit to working on it during the month of June. I selected my bee project, which is this one. It's a Gecko Rouge piece, and I've committed to putting in 100 stitches a day on this project. So I have done 700 stitches on it. Let me just find it amongst the whips. There's a large pile of whips here today. So I've done 700 stitches. It's gone from 5.84 to 6.91%. Now this also includes today's stitches, so it is actually showing 800 stitches, but never mind. So the wing is not far away from complete, and I'm working on filling in this section of the wing. So the wings for me in this are the hardest part to do. They are pale colours on pale fabric and not very easy to see, so I have to use a magnifier to do these sections. But yeah, it's stitched 1/1 full cross on some 25 count fabric and 700 stitches of progress. So I'll get in an extra 3,000 stitches on this month, because there are 30 days in June. So yeah. Oh, let me just plug in my laptop because it's about to die. Here we go. I know I meant to do something. I always forget something, don't I? You wouldn't be my Flosstube if I didn't forget something. Okay, so next piece I worked on. So I had 2 finishes, 1 start, and I spun the wheel, the spinny wheel of doom. I had a few projects on there, and the one that came up, the one that was the winner, was this piece. This is Rivendell Castle, and it's by Stitching Masterpieces on Etsy, and Alessia also has a YouTube channel. It was a very kind gift to me for my birthday, and I'm really glad, and the sender is also quite pleased that this one has come up in the 2 finishes for 1 start. So I'm stitching this 2/1 full cross on some 20 count fabric. It's going to be quite wide. I have to do it on an Ada because, or sort of 20 count, or less, because it's got a lot of blends in it. So I'm doing it on 20 count. That is the first 1,300 stitches, and we are 0.36%. So you can just see up here, tree branches are coming in there on the top left. So it's a top left start, and I'm doing it typewriter method. What I'm also aiming to do is, given that the there's a lot of blends in this. When I get a blend, I'm working all of that thread in, because I don't, or parking it if it's too far away, because although I've got extra thread cards, I'm too lazy to set one up to put my snipped threads in. But there we go. So I got 1,300 stitches in because it had 1,000 stitches on a Stitch With Me, and then it came out on the Sunday live stream. So yeah, happy enough with that. So I did just miss this one. So this was also on a Stitch With Me last week. This is Witchy Cat. And again, it's a Gecko Rouge piece, Terra Mango. Limited edition Halloween kit from a couple of years ago. Pretty sure it was a couple of years ago. So this one I have moved from 3.5 to 6%, and I've added in 1,000 stitches. So this is stitched 1/1 full cross, again on some 25 count. It's out of frame because I ran out of frames, but you can see there underneath the cat's collar, and sort of lots of this has been stitched in, and this is where the pentagram sort of pendant is on the cat's collar. So, but you can see there's lots of colours in that, and it looks quite nice. So yeah, super happy with how that one is coming along. I'm just going to pop it in its project bag, so I tidy up as I go. But yeah, 3.5 to 6%, so it's quite a big jump in quite a short, sorry I didn't unzip these, in just one session it's had quite a jump. So happy enough with that. Okay, next one to show is a channel favourite. So one that's not been seen for a few weeks. This is the beautiful Envy. Artwork is by Marta Darling, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So this is not my oldest whip. It's the second one of the sins that I've done. But it's quite a big one. It's almost 250,000 stitches. 240,000 to be exact. So Envy has also had 1,000 stitches, and it's gone from 42.21 to 42.62%. So I'm going to show you where I've worked, and then if I can, I'm going to show you the whole thing. Okay, so 1,000 stitches off skirt. So I filled in all this black here, a little bit here, and I've done a bit of mapping on this as well. So mapping is where I go around an area to know that within that area, my nose looks awful red because of that burrito. I work around an area to fill in an area without having to look at Pattern Keeper. I know that just within that section it's all the same colour kind of thing. So it's had 1,000 stitches, 42.21 to 42.62%, and I'm just going to see if I can't show the whole thing. It may show, it may not, I'm not entirely sure. I'm just going back and back and back. How am I all in? I think so. So there we go. When I put this one in the hoop, I can see the bottom edge. So it is trucking along quite well because I can see the bottom. But yeah, I am happy with Envy and how she's coming along. And it's really nice being in the skirt of Envy because it's not a lot of confetti. And 1,000 stitches doesn't take all that long, really, to be fair. Okay, my Sunday stitch this week. Oh, Envy stitch 1/1 full cross on some 25 count Lugana. So my Sunday stitch was this one. This is an Unconventional X Stitch piece, and it's a Van Gogh Never Met, or the Fellowship as I call it. And you know, if you're watching this for the first time, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so I have several pieces dedicated to Lord of the Rings. So this piece, it is confetti heavy, so every square has got a lot of confetti in it. It can make it a challenging stitch, but I'm okay with it. We've gone from 1.72 to 2.12% and added 1,000 stitches. So as you can see here, we've got quite a bit of that swirl there on the top left. And as you can see, I've still got some park spreads to work in. I tried doing sort of parking on this, but there were so many threads. I think because of the changes within each 10 by 10 square, it just doesn't lend itself to parking. So I'm kind of cross country in this one. Well, sort of my typewriter method, which I'll explain in a few minutes. But yeah, happy with that. 1,000 stitches, 1 over 1 full cross on some 25 count even weave. And again, I'm just going to take this off its hoop. Tidy up as I go. Okay, so we had on Saturday, Spare Stitch Saturday. The first Spare Stitch Saturday arrived. So again, if you are just joining me, I have a rotation, and I also have 2 long-term pieces which are supersized max colour. My biggest one of those is this piece, and this is Night Cafe. The artwork is by Leonid Afremov and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's almost 1 million stitches. It's 991,008 stitches. So it's a big one. I started this first of all a few years ago, then I had to restart it because I made a boo-boo with counting. The restart so far is successful. I haven't made any counting error, and I keep checking it. So it came out on Spare Stitch Saturday. Let me just sort this nudge out. And it's moved from 9.6 to 9.76%, and it's added 1,600 stitches. So it's still in its frame, but you'll see we are getting into the lighter colours of this lantern. This is a lantern that's coming in here, so we're now getting into the lighter colours. This one stitched 2 over 1 tent stitch on some 25 count in 10 by 10 blocks using a diagonal sort of step method. And I'm working it in sections 100 stitches wide by 200 stitches deep, so it's a bit like Royal Rose but on a grand scale. So, but yeah, that came out Spare Stitch Saturday for the first time, because with it being so big at the minute, the estimated finish is 2040. I don't really want to still be working on it in 2040 if I can help it, so I figured at least if I can work on it on Saturdays and maybe getting 0.5% or even maybe up to 1% a month, who knows, depends on how much stitching I manage to get in, it's going to help to move it towards the finish line, which is a long way away. Speaking of finish line, so the last piece that I have worked on is now my focus on a finish. So again, going back to my Facebook group, you guys will know that I held a stitch along in May, and the piece that I chose was this one. It's called Symphony. The artwork is by, or the conversion is by Michaela Lerner. Across charts and stuff on Etsy. Currently have a 25% off sale when you buy 4 items in the shop. It's not a massive piece. It's 19,000 and some stitches. So last week I was at 15.81%. Today I'm at 29.08%, and over this last week I have put in 2,200 stitches. So it is slightly under the frame, but the first quarter is done. I'm now working on the second. And what I'm doing is, once a 10 by 10 gridded square is complete, I'm just tallying up the completed squares, not counting each stitch. Just when I fill in a square, I chalk that up as 100 stitches done. So all of these stitches that are in here and like here are not counted in a finished square just yet. It's stitch 2/1 full cross on some 18 count Ada. So this is, like I said, it's a focus for a finish, so it will be out on my Wednesday live stream. Excuse me. And I shall be working on this when I finish my daily stitches today and tomorrow. So that's that. So that is all of the stitching. So if you're interested in joining the Stitch on Facebook, the group link is in the description box below. If you're not on Facebook or you don't wish to participate through Facebook, you can always send me an email. My email address is in the description box below. So just going back to how I stitch and my rotation a little bit, just to refresh a few people, and for the people who have just come on board and subscribed to the channel as well. So the way I work my rotation is I divide my week up. I group days together in two, so Monday and Tuesday are grouped together, Wednesday and Thursday are grouped together, and Friday and Saturday are grouped together. So for each of those three groupings, I have a whip which comes off a list, and I'm just working down the list in order. I had a lot of new starts this year. I brought 8 across over from last year, and I added in a lot of new starts, and they've just sort of slotted in each other, and one after the other. So on Monday and Tuesday, like last week, I spent 2 days working on Witchy Cat, and I added 1,000 stitches. Any extra time I got during those days, I've put in on Symphony for focus for a finish. Similarly, on Wednesday and Thursday, I worked on Rivendell Castle for 1,000 stitches, and any extra stitches, again, I put in on Symphony. Friday and Saturday it was Envy's turn, and on Friday when I'd finished or got to where I wanted on Envy, I did some work on Symphony, and then on Saturday I completed Envy's stitches, and then I worked on Night Cafe, because any extra stitches on a Saturday are devoted to Night Cafe. Then I have a Sunday stitch, which this week was Van Gogh Never Met, and then on Sunday that had 1,000 stitches. And then I worked on the new start that I'd had to Rivendell Castle in my Sunday live stream. However, if there is no new start, whatever is my Sunday stitch will be worked on the live stream. So that's how my rotation works. I also do some model stitching, so if I do get a model stitch come in, my extra stitches, the model stitch is prioritised over the focus for a finish. So if I got a model stitch come through the door, it will be, Symphony will be put aside, and the model stitch will get my priority. So that's the way my rotation works. Now, the way I work my method, my typewriter method. So I'm just going to grab a drink. I'm on my lunch. Oh dear. So I'm sure you guys will have seen Stitching Mummy and her typewriter method, where she takes the left uppermost stitch, whatever colour that is, she works in that colour throughout the piece, and then she takes the next stitch, and so on and so forth. So I do the typewriter method on quite a lot of my pieces, certainly the pieces that are square or rectangular. I have got quite a lot of my pieces that are shaped, like the Gecko Rouge ones, for example. But if they are not a shaped piece, I'm working in this typewriter method. So it's kind of a version of typewriter method that takes from Stitching Mummy but adds to it for me. So gridded fabric is 10 by 10 blocks. So this is my Rivendell. So what I've done is I've started in the upper left square, the left uppermost stitch, taken that thread and worked it through. Then I've gone into the next stitch and then taken that until I've filled that entire block. And then I've moved on to the next block and then the next block. So each block gets filled in turn, but the threads I just carry on stitching throughout the piece. This for me is why gridding is so important, because it means that I can't lose where I am. So it's like typewriter method, but instead of doing it on a single row, I do it on a block of 10 rows deep in line with the gridding. So I'm doing this on my 2 Van Gogh pieces, this one, Coastal, Summer Sun, just grab my pattern keeper, Coastal, Summer Sun. Oh, hi cat. I'll show you her in a minute. Not doing it on that. Not on that. Oh, stitching shelf. I'm doing it on a stitching shelf, but I'm doing it like a snake method. Sailing Fairy. I'm doing it on Sailing Fairy. But that's basically how it works. Is that I'm doing this 10 by 10 blocks. There she is. Angel, hey, come here. Come say hi. Hi. I smell a burrito. So yeah, so I'm working in them like that, and for me it works. I get that for some people it might not, but off she goes. But for me, that's the way that I feel very comfortable doing my stitching. Obviously, some stuff like my, excuse me, like my Gecko Rouge pieces, I'm working the shape ones. I'm usually working them from the centre out, and that's adding a little bit of a different dimension, because not every piece is worked the same. Not every piece has got the same amount of colours or colour palette in it even. So I do get, you know, quite a bit of variety. Okay, on to other things. So I have a couple more things that I want to talk about. Let me just go back to my notes. One is Stitchy kindness. There's some naughty people out there. Some very, very naughty people. But I love you all. I just want to sort of make it clear that I never ever ask for anything. People are very, very kind. And I know that, you know, the stitching community, you know who's, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel very worthy within the stitching community, because I do get quite a bit of stitch kindness, probably more than my fair share, if truth be known. So if you can imagine my surprise this last week, hi, come here, when the postman knocked on the door, well, the post lady, and oh hi, and I went and answered the door, come say hi, and she got a big brown paper parcel. You can say hi. It's a little angel pants, aren't you? Angel pants. Go on. And I says, ooh, a parcel. And she went, yes. And I looked at the label and went, oh, it's for me. And she looked at me and I went, I've got teenagers. She went, oh, enough said. Usually parcels that come to this house are for Hannah. You know, she's discovered Shine, and she buys DVDs and pet stuff, you know, for her dog and so on. And I thought, what the heck's this? And it was quite heavy. Well, heavy for a brown paper parcel. And it was quite sort of big. And I went into the kitchen and I opened it and I'm like, what the chuff's in this? And I was like, I haven't ordered anything. I'm racking my brains as I'm opening this thing. So if you can imagine my absolute shock when I opened it up and there was a long bar for a Lowry standing there. I've got the standard bar for my Lowry, but this one is a long bar and it's made my life so much easier. So the parcel came, there was no note or indication as to who had sent it. However, I have since found out who've sent it and I have been able to thank them individually. But thank you doesn't seem like enough. It's made it so I can sit much more comfortably when I stitch. I'm not sort of leaning into the right hand side. I have literally got my work in front of me when I'm using the small hoops, the small nurges. I tend to find myself leaning, you know, to the right hand side. So yeah, I was just, and Andy came home and he was like, what's this? And I went, look at it. And he's like, I have no idea what this is. I had to explain to him what it was. But yeah, I was just absolutely blown away. I'm absolutely blown away by the generosity of people. Speaking of generosity, something that is no less important was, if you remember last Flosstube, I was opening what I thought was a model stitch and I was getting quite annoyed at the end of it. Well, it wasn't a model stitch. It was another small gift. So the first thing that came out of the packet was a packet of Freddos. Somebody who knows me very, very well knows I love these little things. So for those of you that don't know, they are a small chocolate frog. And I can have one of these a day as a part of my weight loss. And seeing as I quite like chocolate, I would never go for chocolate. I don't normally pick chocolate because once I eat chocolate, I don't want to stop eating chocolate. So I try and steer away from it. But one of these at the end of the day is quite a nice little treat. So thank you for those. But also in the packet came this. So this is a double-ended needle threader. And again, if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I use the ball tip needles. And just lately, I don't know whether it's because I'm getting old or whatever, or I'm just full of rage or premenopause or whatever it is that you want to call it, but I'm just getting myself into a knot threading needles, especially as I use the ball tip needles. I don't have one with me, which are incredibly, the eyes are a lot smaller than the standard tapestry needle. And I've got needle threaders, but the needle threaders are too big. They are the, in fact, I've got one here. So I've got some of this type of needle threader, but even small is too big in the eye of a ball tip needle. It'll go through, but pulling the thread through is really difficult. So in this packet, this is a Smart Fox dual needle threader for large eye needles and for tiny needles. So at the top of Mr. Fox, there is a large eye needle threader, which is a little bit smaller than the one that's on the other one there that I showed you. And then at the bottom, there's a teeny tiny one. I mean, you can see just how small that is. It's tiny. So this is going to make my life so much easier. So thank you very, very much. No less important than the Lowry bar. This is just going to make such a difference. Andy's going to be so relieved because his ears are not going to be falling off with all the swearing I keep doing. But there you go. Okay, so next thing is I want to touch on is last week's video and my comments in relation to Gecko Rouge. So I failed to mention it in the video, but I did put it in a pinned comment. I did reach out to Gecko Rouge and I let them know that the postal service was letting them down, because although we see on the photos on the Gecko Rouge page, they present them beautifully, when they're getting to customers, they are not presented in that same manner. And I had an email to and fro with Glenn, and if I know that Glenn watches this, because he said that he watched my last week's video, so thank you, Glenn, thank you for watching. The comments have been taken on board and he is, you know, sort of addressing that. The last thing that I want to do is to create any sort of issue or, you know, extra additional expense, but I felt it only fair to highlight to Gecko Rouge that their beautiful presentation was being, in essence, pulled apart by a postal service which for them should be taking greater care of these items, but unfortunately the sad reality is that it doesn't happen that way. How many times have we seen on a television program where they're investigating these parcel companies, things that are marked fragile get kicked and thrown? That's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast for these services. And is a delivery driver himself, so he sees it with his colleagues. I mean, Andy doesn't do, well, as far as I know, doesn't do that sort of thing, but you know. So yeah, I mean, something hopefully positive is going to come out of that, and hopefully, as far as Geckorouge are concerned, that, you know, that the feedback should be that at all times that these are just beautifully presented, which for the most part they are. And like I said, I think I'm spoiled with the boxes, and it was completely out of Geckorouge's hands. This was a pure postal service problem. But anyway, by the by, all sorted. Whew, okay, so a quick life update. Work has taken not a downturn. I'm still busy at work. I'm just not as busy as I have been, which is great. So the foot is off the gas a little bit, which is wonderful. I'm off work next week. I plan to do some work in the garden and a few other bits around the house. I was having a chat with my stepdad at the weekend, and I suggested to him that he might want to speak to the council, because he's a council tenant, about see if he can't get a bungalow or something up near closer to us. He's getting to the point now where he does need a little bit more looking after, I think. So I've said to him, look, you know, in all fairness, I think you need to look at this. What else? Weight loss. Oh, really good. I lost another £0.5 pound this week, so I've got 6 to go to get to my goal, which I'm absolutely fine with. I'm happy with that. £0.5 pound at a time, I don't mind. I have been within the same half a stone since Christmas, so my weight has not fluctuated by more than £7. So I'm actually quite proud of that for almost 6 months I've been maintaining my weight. Lauren has done an amazing job. She lost another £1.5 pounds, so she's now lost £10 overall, and she's thrilled. I've actually got a surprise coming in the post for her today to do with a prom. She doesn't know about it yet. There we go. So she leaves school next week, prom in about 3 weeks. So we've got a little work to do yet, but we're going to get her there. The dress is zipping and it's coming in, but it needs to come in just a little bit more, I think. Okay, what's coming up on the channel this week? So there's no new starts this week. I haven't got a model stitch. It still hasn't come, so I think I might, you know, end up just sending her an email and saying model stitch hasn't arrived. Let's see, so what am I going to be working on? Okay, so there's going to be a stitch with me with Magpie, which is alternative, so some music. So that's the Gecko Rouge piece. Stitching Shelf will be out for a chatty stitch with me, excuse me, on Wednesday. It's an Amy Stewart week because Cosmic Marbles will also be out, so that will be my Friday Saturday stitch. And Sunday stitch is Lord of the Rings stained glass. So as ever, for my spare stitch Saturday, I will be having Night Cafe out, and for all of the times where I have stitches to spare, my Symphony is getting some extra work. In fact, I can tell you that Symphony has, load up the old spreadsheet. Come on, data, where are you? No, it doesn't look like that. Thank you. Symphony has 13,900 stitches to go. So I'm hoping it can be finished by the end of this month. I hope. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's everything, I think. And this has been a bit of a long floss tube, so I do hope at the beginning that you got a cup of tea and what have you, because, you know, we've been a while. Longer than normal. So I'm going to leave you with my usual reminders. There's 3 videos that will come up on your screen in a moment. If you've not seen those, please do go take a few minutes to have a look. Thank you to all of those of you who subscribed, who comment, who hit the like button. So important to keep my channel visible within the YouTube algorithm. Also, subscribing is free, so if you do press the subscribe button and click on the bell for all notifications, you'll know every time I upload a video or go live. Oh, just get that. Hello. Thank you.
1 second, please. You just want to make a quick picture.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's the parcel man. So that one is for Andy, I'm pretty sure. This one is Lauren's little surprise. So let me show you, sneak peek. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, then do so because it's free. Yes, there it is. Sorry, there might be a crinkle here. There we go. So this is something that I just got for Lauren. It's a little wristband to go with her dress for her prom. It's got sparkle on it too. So hopefully she's going to love that. Lauren wears a Fitbit, so if she puts it on her wrist like that, hopefully it'll cover up her Fitbit. So there we go. Okay. Yes. So where was I? Oh yeah. So yeah, do subscribe. It is free. It won't cost you anything. And on Tuesdays I do a Flosstube. On Wednesdays and Sundays I do a live stream at 7:30 p.m. UK time. And on Thursdays and Saturdays I do release Stitch With Me videos as well. So you have lots and lots of scope, lots of things to look at. So yeah. But really all that's left to say is thank you guys very much indeed for watching. Take care. Happy stitching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.